This is the Morning Swim Show for Friday, August 7th, 2009. I'm your host, Peter Busch, and there's a lot going on in the world of swimming right now. The U.S. Open is past the halfway point in Federal Way, Washington. The United States Masters Long Course Nationals are in Indianapolis right now. For all the results, just go to our website, swimmingworld.com. But for the bulk of our show today, we're going to catch up with one of our favorite guests, Swimming World Magazine senior writer John Lohn, who is at his home in Cranberry, New Jersey. And John, do we have you on Skype there? There you are. Are you having world record withdrawals ever since Rome ended?
Not at all. It's actually nice to go a day without seeing one. That was a sad display, to be quite honest with you, I thought.
Okay, so you're going with that route, that it was bad for the sport just seeing the records basically become insignificant, so to speak?
You know, when you see three of them, I mean, at the end, you know, a swimmer turns to the wall and gives a shrug of the shoulders. I mean, what does it mean anymore? You know, world records are supposed to be something. They're supposed to take months, years to go and take down, and these things were going minute by minute, and that was just, it was a shame. I mean, it was really, I had a hard time watching to the end just because, you know, you lost an appreciation for, you know, time. And that's what this sport is built on. It's built on time, and none of those times mean a thing.
I'm not sure if I'm more intrigued or more frightened to find out how much slower these swimmers are going to be without these high-tech suits next year.
Yeah, I don't know if any of us really know. I mean, look, somewhere in this, you know, almost 2 years since the laser was unveiled in February of '08, the best of the best have, you know, probably improved. But we don't know how much they improved. You know, if you take the suits, they probably were faster than they were in Melbourne '07, which was the last significant world championships. But we're going to have not going to have an idea until next year, and maybe even 11, because 2010 is kind of, you know, one of those caught in the middle years. Where are things? And it's going to take some time to map it all back out.
We here at Swimming World, we're going to take the lead and sort of put an asterisk next to all the world records, kind of suit-aided, almost like in track and field where you have a wind-aided time. And, you know, I think it's just important for the history of the sport to make that distinction of what was swum in 2008 and 2009 and make sure people know, you know, even 30 years from now when they look back at the world record progressions, that that was a significant moment in this sport's history and a very controversial one at that.
I completely agree with that, Peter. I mean, I think you absolutely, you know, make a point of, okay, this was a record, you know, produced in 2009 or, you know, 2008. This was a record produced in 2007. And like you said, this is a huge history of the sport. It's an unfortunate history, you know, from my angle. But you can't mention these things without, you know, going into the whole details behind it. The fact that we're talking about 100% polyurethane. The fact that, you know, some swimmers were in, you know, the Speedo, which, you know, broke this whole thing out, the laser, but then did not wear the Arena X Squad or the J-Kit. I mean, we're looking at, you know, if those things are ignored, well, that's doing a disservice to the sport in general. I mean, there has to be an absolute distinction between pre-2008 February and where we were, you know, in Rome there.
I don't want to go over all the races in Rome because, A, we don't have enough time, and B, we've kind of already done that. But by far the most talked about one on our website was the men's 200 free. Now, Biederman beat Michael Phelps by a little over a second, and I'm not sure if they're just both wearing jammers that Biederman still doesn't win that race. So I don't want to put that all in the suit. So looking forward, the question becomes, you know, when Phelps is in a little bit better shape, when he's 100%, and Biederman swimming this well, I still think that's a really good race for the next few years.
You know, I think it's closer than probably some people might want to think. So I think some people think if they were in equal suits, Michael blows him out of the water. I think Paul Biederman, you know, he looks great in the water. Now, obviously, some of that is the suit, but obviously he's made some strides in training, and he's a talented individual. But I can't wait, like you said, Peter, to see those two guys go on an equal playing field, to see what shakes out there. Maybe it's closer. I do believe Michael is still, you know, faster and is going to win. And I think, this is a guy who's Mr. Motivation. I mean, he's going to want to drop a hammer the next time these two guys, meet head to head. And that actually could be a ways off. We might not see that till the 2011 World Championships. I don't see any time really in 2010 where they'll go head to head.
Does the chip, Phelps obviously swims better with that chip on his shoulder, and I think he swam so well in the 100 fly because he lost the 200 free and because of the whole Cavich rivalry. I think that really gets the best of him. But is that now buried? I mean, he's obviously got Cavich's number. How does he motivate himself the next time?
Do you mean how does he motivate against Cavich, or how does he motivate in general?
Well, Biederman, obviously, he's going to be motivated. But beyond that, I mean, he still feels like he's the king and everything else.
Well, I think Michael's next thing is probably to say, okay, let me go throw a 49 out there in a jammer. He's never short on setting goals for himself, even though most of the time those goals are kept very close to the vest between he and Bob Bowman. But Michael is always a guy who just has that shovel out, and he just keeps digging for something else to push him. And I would think a 49 in the jammer, is probably something that intrigues him a little bit.
The college season starts very soon. I know it's way too early for predictions there, but again, the suits could make it a very interesting season with how are they going to set NCAA cuts. And you just never know if some teams were helped more than others last year by the suits, and now that we're kind of going back to evening the playing field. I think it's a very intriguing college season.
Yeah, that's another thing. We're not going to have really an idea how any of that's going to shake out probably until after some of those mid-season invitationals are held, where we'll get an idea of what's going on, and then we can start gauging a little bit this post-suit era. But yeah, I mean, it's just we're in a feeling out process, I think, in the sport right now. That's unfortunate that it got to this level, but at least we are in that process of moving forward and clearing things up and going on again, and where swimming is based on pure talent and not on technology.
I totally agree. I hope that swimming stays on everyone's minds, like them or not. Those suits provided controversy, they provided intrigue, and people were drawn in who normally aren't. So, 2009, that's one of the reasons why it's been such a great after party after Beijing. And I just hope that doesn't die. As much as it would purify the sport, so to speak, I just hope there's still that intrigue. I know Phelps will carry most of that mantle, but, the suits helped.
Yeah, and I think, and I'm hopeful that something will, there will be an interest, but there is going to be an issue that 2010 is probably the deadest of the years between Olympiads. I mean, let's face it. I mean, Pan Pacs is, that's all there really is, and that's not going to, it doesn't measure up in terms of other international competitions. So if there is a danger year, it is 2010. You just have to hope that the Phelps factor carries through, and then you kind of see some branching off of that where there are some stories. You hope Dara comes back from her knee surgery and maybe dabbles around in the pool a little bit and keeps some interest there. I would like to see Jessica Hardy's, come back. I mean, that started pretty well last night with a 54 high in the 100 free. Her story of making a push toward London. So you hope some stories shake out that grab the attention and this thing doesn't fall off the face of the earth.
Well, John, we'll do our part to keep it on everyone's minds because you're right. 2010 is the tough year. Then you get to 2011. People start to feel like, oh, we're close to the Olympics again. So if we can just get through these next 12 months, we should be all right.
That's the key.
All right, John, thanks a lot for your thoughts.
Thanks, guys.
I'll see you next time. That's John Lohn joining us, as he does from time to time here on the show. We always appreciate having him on. That's it for the show today. We'll see you tomorrow. I'm Peter Busch, reminding you to keep your head down at the finish.